ಹಾಂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ. ನಾನು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟೆಡ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದು ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಅಕ್ಕ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಹಾಕ್ಲಕ್ಕ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಹಾಕ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಲಕ್ಕ.
Aló. ಎಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನ కొంత స్పీడ్ ನನ್ನ ಶಾಲೆ ಸೀಟ್ ಪನ್ನೊಂದು ಯಾರು ಹಾಂ
A warm good evening to one and all. May I request the Director of Prasananga, Professor A.M. Karkul sir, to kindly escort the speaker of today's function, Dr. Anil Kakotkar sir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnatak University Dharwad, Mr. A.M. Khan sir, Professor K. Siddhappa, the former Vice Chancellor, Bangalore University, Professor B.G. Moolimalli, the former Vice Chancellor, Gulbarga University, our register evaluation, Professor N.Y. Mattihal sir on the dais. It's a great honor for us. Today we have Srimati Sunitha M. Sadarthi, the wife of Professor N.Y. University Dharwad. It's an honor and a privilege for us to have her here today.
ಇದು ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಡ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇಡೋದನ್ನ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲ
A teacher affects a kid. He can never tell when his influence stops. We have gathered here for an endowment lecture which is organized in the sacred memory of Professor M.I. Saudati, a great scholar, a mentor and a great human being whose life stood as a testimony to the true meaning of education. We are here to remember, reflect and reaffirm his values. A very warm good evening to all the esteemed dignitaries, distinguished guests, respected faculty members, invitees, syndicate members, and my dear students, and all the ladies and gentlemen present here. I, Dr. Pushpa Hongal, it's my privilege to be here as a master of ceremony for the solemn and the meaningful occasion. Today's gathering is not merely an event. It's a tribute. It's a tribute of gratitude, a celebration of values, and a remembrance of a life that continues to inspire all of us. On behalf of Karnatak University Dharwad and the Prasaranga, as well as Alumni Association, I welcome you all to the Professor M.I. Saudati Memorial Endowment Lecture on the theme Values and Excellence in Higher Education. Karnatak University Prasaranga, which was established in the year 1952 with the founding director of great poet Professor Chandavira Kannaviji, till the present director Professor Kadkol, has been contributing tremendously for the cause of developing and nurturing education. More than 5,000 volumes of books has been published. UGC recognized Journal of Karnataka University is a renowned journal in the field of education. It's a privilege for the Prasaranga as it is hosting for the first time the endowment lecture in the memory of Professor M.I. Saudati. Once again, I welcome you all for the endowment lecture on values and excellence in higher education. To begin this program on a culturally enriching and auspicious note, now I invite the music department Karnataka University to render the Nadagite, symbolizing our devotion to the land, learning and the legacy. May I request all to kindly rise.
Hello. जय भारत जननी तनुजाते, जय हे कर्नाटक माते, जय सुंदर नदी वनಗಳ ನಾಡೆ, जय हे रस ಋಷಿಗಳ ಬೀಡೆ. ಭೂದೇವಿಯ ಮಕುಟದ ನವಮಣಿಯೇ, ಗಂಧದ ಚಂದದ ಹೊನ್ನಿನ ಗಣಿಯೇ, ರಾಘವ ಮಧುಸೂದನರವತರಿಸಿದ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ. ಜನನಿಯ ಜೋಗುಳ ವೇದದ ಘೋಷ, ಜನನಿಯ ಜೀವೋ ನಿನ್ನಾವೇಶ. ಹಸುರಿನ ಗಿರಿಗಳ ಸಾರೆ, ನಿನ್ನಯ ಕೊರಳಿನ ಮಾಲೆ. ಕಪಿಲ ಪತಂಜಲ ಗೌತಮ ಜಿನುನು, ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ. ಶಂಕರರ ಮನುಜ ವಿದ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ, ಬಸವೇಶ್ವರ ಮಧ್ವ ದಿವ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ. ರನ್ನ ಷಡಕ್ಷರಿ ಪೊನ್ನ, ಪಂಪಲ ಕುನಪತಿ ಚನ್ನ. ಕುಮಾರ ವ್ಯಾಸರ ಮಂಗಳ ಧಾಮ, ಕವಿ ಕೋಗಿಲೆಗಳ ಪುಣ್ಯರಾಮ. ನಾನಕ ರಾಮಾನಂದ ಕಬೀರ, ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ. ಕೈಲಪ ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ನಾಡಿನ ನಾಡೆ, ಗಂಕನ ಜಕನರ ಶರಾವತಿ ತುಂಗಾ ಕಾವೇರಿಯವರ ರಂಗ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಪರಮಹಂಸ ವಿವೇಕ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಸರ್ವ ಜನಾಂಗರ ಶಾಪಿಯ ತೋಟ ರಸಿಕರ ಕಂಗಳ ಸೆಳೆಯುವ ನೋಟ ಹಿಂದೂ ಕ್ರೈಸ್ತ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನ ಪಾರಸಿಕ ಜನರುದ್ಯಾನ ಜನಕನ ಓಲುವ ಧ್ವರಗಳ ರಾಮ ಗಾಯಕ ವೈಣಿಕರ ರಾಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ಕುಣಿ ಕುಣಿದಾಡುವ ಗೇಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಯ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ದೇಹ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ.
Thank you for the soulful invocation. Professor M.I. Saudati sir, he was a man of few words, yet his silence spoke wisdom. A man of great achievements, yet remarkable humility. Born in a small village of Amimbawi, his journey reminds us that true greatness begins with the values. He rose through learning, discipline and dedication. But he never left behind the simplicity of his roots and the compassion as a true teacher. To his students, he was not just a professor of physics. He was a mentor who believed in them much before they believed in themselves. The laboratories he has built and the institutions he has strengthened were not merely the structures of a concrete and steel, but they are spaces where dreams were nurtured and young minds were encouraged to think beyond the limits. Though Professor M.I. Saudati sir left in 2021, his presence is still felt. It is felt in the classrooms where discipline is cherished, in the universities that stand strong on foundations, and several lives shaped by his guidance. Such lives do not end. They continue through values, through service, and through the generations they inspire. And today, we have gathered here for an endowment lecture of such a great personality. To formally welcome the august gathering, may I invite the registered evaluation, Professor N.Y. Mattihar sir. Please.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಧಾರವಾಡ ಹಳೆಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಸಹಯೋಗದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ M.I. ಸೌದತ್ತಿಯವರನ್ನು ಸ್ಮರಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ದತ್ತಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸಿದೆ. ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಗಣ್ಯಾತಿ ಗಣ್ಯರನ್ನ, ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯರನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ M.I. ಸೌದತ್ತಿಯವರು ಅವರು ದೈಹಿಕವಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎತ್ತರದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವವೋ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕವಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎತ್ತರದ ನಿಲುವುಳ್ಳ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ದರು. ಭಾರತೀಯ ಪರಂಪರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡುವುದು ಎರಡು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು, ಒಂದು ದೇವರು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ತನ್ನ ಸಾಧನೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಗಳಿಂದ ಸಮಕಾಲೀನ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಮಹನೀಯರನ್ನ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಪರಂಪರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಒಂದು ಪರಂಪರೆ. ಭಾರತೀಯ ಪರಂಪರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೈವ ಪರಮೋಚ್ಚ ಪ್ರತೀಕ. ದೈವಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮಿಗಿಲಾದದ್ದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ದೇವರು ನಂಬಿಕೆ, ಆಚರಣೆ, ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳೆದು ಹೋಗಿಬಿಡುವ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣದ ಶೂನ್ಯ. ಆದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಾಧನೆ, ಸಿದ್ಧಿಗಳು ಪರಮ ವಾಸ್ತವ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಎಂ.ಐ. ಸವದತ್ತಿಯವರು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಸಾಧನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೂ ಈ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮೆದುರಿಗೆ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಇರುವಂಥವುಗಳು. ಎಂ.ಐ. ಸವದತ್ತಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ತುಂಬ ಎತ್ತರದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಬರೀ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ದಶೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಸರ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸಮಾಜ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲೂ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಭಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವು ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ವಚನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ, ವಚನ ವಿಶ್ವಕೋಶ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕುರಿತು ಚರ್ಚೆ ನಡೀತಿರುವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಡಿನ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಸಂಶೋಧಕರಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಂ ಕಲಬುರ್ಗಿ ಅವರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸಂವಾದಗಳನ್ನು, ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎತ್ತರದ ನಿಲುವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡುವುದನ್ನು ಸ್ವತಃ ನಾನು ಕಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಬರೀ ಒಬ್ಬ ಎಂ.ಐ. ಸವದತ್ತಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಭೌತ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸಮಾಜ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ, ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ, ಸಮಕಾಲೀನ ಸಮಾಜದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂದರ್ಭಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಸಂವಾದ ಮಾಡುವಂತ, ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತ, ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಪರಿಹಾರವನ್ನ ನೀಡುವಂತ ಬಹಳ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಅಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವವನ್ನ ನೆನಪಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವ, ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯವು ಈ ದತ್ತಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸಿದೆ. ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಗುರಿಯೇ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠತೆಯ ಹುಡುಕಾಟ. ಆ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠತೆಯನ್ನ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕವಾಗಿ ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನಗೊಳಿಸುವುದು ಮೌಲ್ಯ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ. ಈ ಮೌಲ್ಯಯುತವಾದಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವವನ್ನ, ಸಮಾಜವನ್ನ ರೂಪಿಸುವುದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಗುರಿ ಮಾತ್ರವಲ್ಲ, ಅದೊಂದು ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆ. ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆ ಅನ್ನುವುದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಮೌಲ್ಯ. ಇಂಥ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಂ.ಐ. ಸವದತ್ತಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಇಡೀ ತಮ್ಮ ಜೀವಮಾನದುದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ತಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನಗೊಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡವರು. ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿತ್ತಿ ಬೆಳೆಯಲು ಅವರು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವರು. ಅಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ಕುರಿತು ಇವತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯವು ಇಂಥದೊಂದು ದತ್ತಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸಿದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಒಂದೇ ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ 3-4 ಜನ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಮುಂಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದಂಥ ಎಂ ಖಾನ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದು. ಒಂದು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದತ್ತಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳನ್ನ, ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರನ್ನ ಕರೆತರುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇದು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ದಿನಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮರಳಿವೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಕ್ಕಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ನಾನು ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಂ ಖಾನ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಈ ಸಭೆಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಿಲ್ ಕಾಕೋಡ್ಕರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು, ಅವರ ಮೊದಲ ದತ್ತಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುವುದು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷವಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುವಂತ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಅನಿಲ್ ಕಾಕೋಡ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ರಾಜೀವ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಕಮಿಷನ್ನ ಮುಂಬೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ, ಈ ದೇಶದ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವಗಳ ಸಾಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಿಲ್ ಕಾಕೋಡ್ಕರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು. ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಒಪ್ಪಿಕೊಂಡು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠತೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ಕುರಿತು ಮಾತನಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೋರ್ವ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳು ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಕೆ ಸಿದ್ದಪ್ಪ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದವರು. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸವಾಲಿನ ಕೆಲಸ. ಅಂತ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮರ್ಥವಾಗಿ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಆಡಳಿತವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಕೆ ಸಿದ್ದಪ್ಪ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಈ ಸಭೆಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಬಿ.ಜಿ. ಮುಲಿಮನಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಬಿ.ಜಿ. ಮುಲಿಮನಿ ಸರ್ ಸೌದತ್ತಿ ಸರ್ ಹೇಗೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮುರುಗಪ್ಪ ಸರು, ಕಲಬುರಗಿ ಸರು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಒಲವು, ಬಹುಶಃ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಲವು ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಬಹಳ ಜನ ನಾನು ಕಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಮೂಲಿಮನಿ ಸರ್ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು. ಹಾಗೆ ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿ, ಮಾನ್ಯ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವರು. ಅವರು ಈ ದತ್ತಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಈ ಸಭೆಗೆ ನಾನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂ.ಐ. ಸೌದತ್ತಿ ಅವರ ಧರ್ಮಪತ್ನಿ ತಾಯಿ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಸುಮಿತ್ರಾ ಸೌದತ್ತಿ ಅವರು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಸಭೆಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಭೌತಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಜಯಶ್ರೀ ಟೊನ್ನನ್ ಅವರನ್ನ, ಪ್ರಸಾರ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಂ ಕಡ್ಕೋಳ್ ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸುತ್ತಾ, ಈ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮುಂಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್.ಕೆ. ಸೈದಾಪುರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಮಾನ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದಂಥ ಸೈದಾಪುರ್ ಸರ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ದೇವರಾಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಶಿವಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ನೆನಪಿಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪುಷ್ಪಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೌದತ್ತಿ ಸರ ಮಗಳು, ಅವರ ಅಳಿಯಂದಿರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವರ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂಥದ್ದೊಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಕಾಯಗಳ ಡೀನರು, ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರು, ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ನಾನು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಬೇಕಂತೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone for today's program. Some teachers never leave us. They live on through the values they instill. As a mark of deep respect and the remembrance, now we offer a floral tribute to Professor M.I. Saudati, whose life and work continue to inspire generations. The flowers symbolizes our remembrance for the countless students whose lives found direction, for the institution that grew stronger under his guidance and the vision. As we offer these flowers today, we are not merely paying a respect to the portrait, we are owing a gratitude to the light that quietly illuminate the minds. I request all the dignitaries to kindly proceed for the floral tribute.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ.
ಹಾಂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸರ್ ಹಾಂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರಲಿ ರೀ
ಹಾಕ್ಲಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡು
ಹಾಂ ಇದ್ರ ಒಂದು ಫೋಟೋ ಸರ್ 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 ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಮುಂದೆ ಸಾರಿ ಸರ್ ಸರ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬಂತ ಅಂತ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್
Flower is a symbol of respect and gratitude. May I first request our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್
to kindly present flowers to Dr. Anil Kakodkar Sir, the Chairman, Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission's Mumbai. I also request Sir to present a flower to Professor K. Siddhappa Sir, the former Vice Chancellor, Bangalore University, and the President, KAS. May I request Sir to present the flowers to Professor P.G. Mulimani Sir, the former Vice Chancellor, Kalburgi. Thank you, Sir. May I request Professor A.M. Kadkul Sir, the Director of Prasada, to kindly present the flower to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor A.M. Khan Sir. Thank you, Sir. I request Mr. Siddhappa from the Prasanagar to welcome our Honorable Registrar Evaluation, Professor Mattihan Sir. I request Jayashree Ma'am to present a flower to Mrs. Sumitra Saudati Madam. I call upon Ms. Stella to present a flower to Professor A.M. Kadkul Sir. Now I call upon Ms. Stella to briefly introduce Professor B.J. Mulimani Sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to introduce Sir B.J. Mulimani Sir. Professor B.J. Mulimani is a distinguished academician formerly associated with Karnatak University Dharwad as a professor of physics and the Karnataka Science and Technology Academy Fellow, known for his research in solid-state physics, but he later became the Vice Chancellor of BLTE, deemed to be University in Bijapur, focusing on thermopower and electron scattering in materials like graphene, with extensive publications and citations in his field. On behalf of Karnatak University Dharwad, I welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. An endowment lecture is not just a memorial, it's a continuation of a vision. When the knowledge is guided by excellence, excellence becomes meaningful. To offer the opening remarks and contextualize today's endowment lecture, may I invite Professor B.J. Mulimani Sir, the former Vice Chancellor, Kalburgi, to deliver his opening remarks. Please.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Most distinguished chief guest, Dr. Anil Kamporkar, who will be delivering the Professor M.I. Saraswati Memorial Endowment Lecture today. Honorable President of today's function, our dear young Vice Chancellor Professor A.M. Khan, my friend and Senior Vice Chancellor of Bangalore University, Professor Siddhappa, Chairperson of Physics Department, Jayashree, and we have in the audience former Vice Chancellors, Professor Karnatak, Professor Subhash, and distinguished member of the faculty, students, and what is very important is we have with us the best half of Professor M.I. Saraswati, our mother-like person, Srimati Sumitra Saraswati. Professor Katkur, Professor Nagur, Shankar, Manikar, and members of the family of Professor Saraswati. It's indeed a great occasion, and I have been associated with Professor Saraswati for nearly 50 years. For me, Professor Saraswati, I'm not judging him, what I have observed, what I have experienced. He was an integrated and inspiring personality. He was popularly called Amin Bhavi's son, since he came from a village 10 kilometers from Dharwad. He was from farmer's family, not so well off financially. So his life has been an inspiring life and can be summarized in the statement, he who has a right to live, he who has a right to live can bear with almost any hope. Yes. If you look at the life of Professor Saraswati, we can see the truth of the statement. Fight is nice. Professor M.I. Saraswati was a fine blend of an inspiring teacher, distinguished researcher, visionary, educationist, and most importantly, builder of institutions. Apart from that, he was a great human being. He was a person of empathy, pride, magnanimity, perseverance, and balance. He was known for his contributions apart from academics in the university to the cause of science education at school levels, and also as a passionate scientist promoted science popularization in the state. Professor Saraswati, how Professor Saraswati became a Professor Saraswati was guided by excellent teachers like Professor Davar, Professor Taude. Professor Taude, pioneer spectroscopist of this country at that time. Later in his career, he was mentored by Nobel laureate Professor George Porter, who was also president of Royal Society of London, and Professor Broida of California University, with whom he worked. Professor Saraswati, in various committees related to education, he was associated with notable persons, remarkable persons, such as Raja Ramana, Professor Chidambaram, Professor Srinivasan, Professor Kakotkar, Professor Ivar Rao, and Professor Yashpal at UGC level. All these people have influenced Professor Saraswati and made Professor Saraswati what Professor Saraswati was. Retrospectively, I understand Professor Saudati, whom we used to call Professor MIS, and his life in terms of the climbing of Professor Saudati has written an autobiography, Amin Bhavi's son. The last chapter is titled Self-Actualization. The climbing of 5 successive stages in Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. 5 stages. The pyramid of hierarchy. First one is need like food. Second is like security. Third is like craving for the love and companionship. Fourth is esteem, popularity, fame. Professor Saudati has gone through all these things. And the topmost in the pyramid is self-actualization, when the person achieves his full personal potential. That is what Professor Saudati did whole of his life. This, in the end, he has come. In the last chapter of his book, I think I request everybody to read it. Even Vice Chancellors can read it, future Vice Chancellors or present Vice Chancellor. His lifelong guiding principles in personal life as well as in professional life were influenced by the book The Old Man and the Sea, written by Ernest Hemingway, a Nobel laureate, a hardly 100-page book. He used to quote from that book and discuss a lot with us about that book. The lessons which Professor MIS used to quote from this book, just some few lines I will tell you. Be true to yourself. A person with courage, determination and integrity can never be defeated. Strong persons never complain about what they do not have, but use what they have. It is one's own resource that counts. Perseverance in the face of adversity pays. Professor MIS used to convey these lessons to youngsters like us, and he adopted these lessons in his life and whatever he did. If you want to look at Professor Saudati as a person, he was pursuing his studies. While he was pursuing his studies, no, he was not financially well off, but he had a power, that bicycle power he used to call it. He used to use the bicycle to come to Dharwad, go back to Amin Bhavi. That helped him a lot, that's what he says, that is the bicycle power, he says. Difficulties of that kind didn't deter him from achieving the goals he had set for himself. Poverty didn't prevent him pursuing his passion. And in his autobiography, Professor Saudati mentioned the attitude of not becoming a burden to others was part of my life. Attitude of not becoming a burden to others was not my life. Work was worship to him. He was a spiritual being. He was surprisingly highly spiritual, not in the deep religious sense, but he lived with rational mind much more than emotional mind. And he used to say, be human and humane, but never compromise with quality in anything, in whatever we do. That is the point. Professor was known, as all of you, those of you who have seen him, who have interacted with him, was known for his hearty laughter. hearty laughter which we will never forget, which used to disarm and diffuse the studies, situations and difficulties. That was Professor Saurabh Sarma. And some of the things, of course, about his achievements and other things are given in the invitation card. Just quickly in a minute or two, I will mention it for the benefit of students. He was the Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University for 2 terms, member of UGC, received Rajyotsava Award, honorary doctorates, President KRBP, Lifetime Achievement Award, that is Sir M. Vishweshwaraya Award, honorary fellow KSTA, set up national facilities like laser spectroscopy lab in the Department of Physics, microtron facility in Mangalore University. He was a visiting professor to Baba Atomic Research Center, BHU, Andhra University, like that. And also he was Professor Emeritus for Life in KUB. And he was the founder Vice Chairman, Higher Education Council, Government of Karnataka. He was Chairman, Physics Section at Indian Science Congress. And for Physics Department, he has done so much. Today, Physics Department is a Center for Advanced Studies in Physics. He was in a way Vice Chancellor of Vice Chancellors, or a wise Vice Chancellor, shall we say. He used to give suggestions to various Vice Chancellors, including me, whenever we were perturbed. Just I'll quote few statements. He used to say, integrity is not enough unless it is supported by courage. Never show off your authority as Vice Chancellor. Defend any law with courage and conviction till justice is done. VC is like any other professor, except that he or she has greater responsibilities. And what is important is he tried to build individuals as human beings in addition to building them academically. He used to say, though personal success may matter, but success of university is of paramount importance. In a way, both are related. I wish to conclude by raising a question and a possible answer on the lines of what great mathematician Hardy, who mentored Ramanujan, gave in his book, The Mathematician's Savant. The question is, what is the case for anybody's life? What is the case for anybody's life? The answer can be, when you exit, leave some order behind. Add something to knowledge. Help others to add more. Leave some kind of memorial behind. That is what Professor MIS has done, and in all these efforts, what Professor MIS has become, we cannot just forget the best of Mother Srimati Sumitra and children. This is what Professor MIS has done. This endowment lecture serves the purpose to inspire us, youngsters, students, and motivates us to climb the limitless ladder of excellence. I really congratulate the Vice Chancellor. This is the first endowment lecture. It started it. It will go a long way, and successive lectures will motivate the students, teachers, and today we have wonderful, a great, eminent scientist scholar, Shri Anil Kapoor, and the topic is really fantastic, values and excellence in higher education, which was dear to the heart of Professor MIS. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the principles and the values of Professor Sablati, sir. May I request Stella to briefly introduce the Professor Siddappaji, the former Vice Chancellor, Bangalore University.
Dr. K. Siddappa is a well-known teacher, an outstanding scientist with an international reputation and a dynamic administrative leader. He obtained his degree in physics with distinction from Mysore University and his PhD in nuclear physics from Andhra University. He has served on the physics and physics faculty of Mysore University and Bangalore University for 33 years. Professor Siddappa is the recipient of numerous national and international awards, including UGC National Associateship and prestigious American Society Awards. He was awarded the Sir M. Vishweshwaraya Senior Scientist Award from the Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology in 2011 for his lifetime of significant contributions to science. As Honorary Director of the JSS Foundation for Science and Society, and now as President of the Karnataka Association for Advancement of Science, Dr. Siddappa is engaged in strengthening science education at all levels and in bringing the benefits of science to society. With this brief introduction, I present before you Dr. K. Siddappa, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. To reflect upon the remarkable academic and administrative contributions of Professor M.R. Sablati, sir, I invite Professor Siddappa, sir.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಷದ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು. It gives me rather immense pleasure to stand before you and say a few words about the achievements of Professor M.R. Sablati, President of the function, Professor A.M. Khan, my former colleague also, esteemed Dr. Anil Kakurkarji, the illustrious and one of the most successful chairmen of the Atomic Energy Commission and a Diane in the field of technical education in the country. Professor P.G. Mulimani, my long-standing friend and a great academician and a great administrator too, who successfully stayed at two universities at Gulbarga and Vijayapur, very successfully. ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು ಶ್ರೀ ಸಮಾನರಾದ ಸುಮಿತ್ರ ಸೌದತ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ, esteemed Professor Mattihar, Professor Karakur, and very illustrious personalities sitting before us like shining stars, Professor Shivash and another great professor and chairman of the Vice Chancellor of the Karnataka University, and my very dear and esteemed Professor Shiv Prasad, and my very many senior friends who are sitting before all of us, esteemed faculty of Karnataka University, and admiring students and friends of Professor Savadatti and my dear young friends. We have heard about Professor M. Savadatti through his recollection of the personality of Professor Savadatti by Professor B.G. Mulimani. When he came to Mangalore University as Vice Chancellor, he was already equipped fully well with his vast experience, great thinking abilities, and great contributions to science and technology, both as a great scientist and science propagator through his mission in Karnataka Rajya Vijnana Parishat and all other attributes Professor B.G. Mulimani had expressed very happily about the personality of Professor M. Savadatti. Well, I knew Professor Savadatti, and before knowing him, I had come to know many of his great achievements as professor, as researcher, and as great promoter of science and technology, and as a very skillful administrator, managing all the vice chancellors during his tenure here at Karnataka University Physics Department as professor and also as a long-standing member of the syndicate of Karnataka University. Well, his first great achievement is as a scientist. He is one of the first persons to initiate research in quantum physics by establishing a advanced laser research laboratory at the Department of Physics, Karnataka University. And Professor Savadatti, supported by his team in a major way and financially supported by DRDO in a still bigger way, was able to build not only a very sound, up-to-date, world-class laboratory facilities at the Physics Department of Physics for laser spectroscopy studies and also for other applications. He was able to instill confidence in youngsters in a major way to contribute further even after his superannuation and during his very olden days. I know Karnataka University is one of the most acknowledged department in the country, not only at the national level but at the international level, for very many original contribution for the growth of science and technology through those contributions. And his research investigations subsequently at the laboratory of Nobel laureate James Porter has made him more close to greater and greater scientists of various laboratories in the world, and he became one of the leading researchers in the field of quantum physics. That is his major contribution for the field of science and technology. Well, when he came to Mangalore University as Vice Chancellor, he came with a mission to develop, that is I am saying in his own words, mission to develop Mangalore University as a university with a difference. And he used to mention this, starting from his first lecture delivered, addressed to the faculty of the Manu University, and on every occasion, umpteen number of times he was telling this, and finally by the time he completed his 2-term tenures, he did make Manu University a university with a reference. It's very successful. In fact, this apart, he has won the heart of all, not only all the faculty of Mangalore University and the administrative staff of the university, but also the affiliated colleges, authorities, faculties there, students, and the general public at large. And during his farewell function, hosted at public level in Mangalore, the student leaders of all the affiliated colleges, including constrained colleges and university PG departments, made one expression, the highest I believe. We want Professor M.I. Samadatti as a permanent Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University. But that could not happen, but there was no provision. So that is a kind of a love, affection and regard, acclaim that Professor Samadatti commanded. Well, university was very small at that time. He was the third Vice Chancellor. First Vice Chancellor, he had to suffer from the teething trouble of the university in the form of a baby. He could not do much, but tried his best. Second Vice Chancellor was quite a visionary, but not able to take everybody into confidence, but he did contribute in a major way for the growth of excellence in his own way. And Professor Samadatti was well equipped by then with his personality, with his skill, with his vision, and with every associated attributes. He was able to contribute to the development of the Mangalore University in a major way. First and foremost, he introduced Prasaranga. Today, this program is being organized by the channel. This is one of his first contributions to the university. There was no Prasaranga there. He established Prasaranga. He established major facilities, not only in science departments, but in arts and language departments. Kannada department, for example, is a major beneficiary that he initiated so many new things. He introduced Shivaram Karant Turupita. Shivaram Karant is a nationally acclaimed legend, a great writer and thinker. And many of his books are Gnanapita Awardee, and many books have also been developed in the form of films, and national awards are also backed by those films. Still, there was so much of unpublished work with him. So Professor Samadatti started taking interest in such things. So, through Prasaranga and with the help of Shivaram Karant Study Center at Peta, he started publishing all his unpublished works, maybe in the form of letters, maybe in the form of lectures delivered at different places, and maybe in the form of discussions he has had with illustrious people. All those records were dug out and he published as many as 9 volumes, big volumes of Professor Shivaram Karanta's unpublished works, which are really a very great light thrower for the readers, not only up to date but for the coming generation too. And he introduced the Science Day celebration every year, and it is a kind of open house where the public used to come not just for one day but for 3 days. And that has attracted so many public, not only from Mangalore city, from the entire Mangalore area, Mangalore University area. In fact, Mangalore means entire, according to the local people there, Mangalore they call it in a different way. It is the center of, it is like a nucleus of an atom, and the atom is the entire South Canara district. Okay. And as far as science is concerned, of course it was his first love. And he established universities, helped to establish Science Instrumentation Center, a center which paved the way for the establishment of Department of Electronics too. And the University Science Instrumentation Center was able to serve not only the university PG department's requirements of servicing the instruments, but all the affiliated colleges wherein the science laboratories and so many unserviced instruments were set right in the music established at the Mangalore University. So all these things were his contributions. Because of his encouragement, support and guidance, this science center was able to function in a very exemplary way. And all the laboratories of the science departments were given a facelift. And physics department was one of the major beneficiaries too. In fact, our Dr. Raja Ramanna used to visit Mangalore University right from its inception, because he was the first chairman of the first committee of advisors Mangalore University has had. And right during his first visit, he gave a press conference, a statement. Look here, it is a mockery that the government of Karnataka has established university with this kind of infrastructure. They say the boards in front of the department read that Department of Postgraduate Studies and Research in Physics, like that chemistry, mathematics, life sciences, like that. But these department laboratory infrastructures are worse than an high school laboratory infrastructure. From that day onwards, the government opened its eyes and so much of grants started flowing in. And by the time Professor Savarthi came, only classroom laboratories were in a reasonably good shape. But it is Professor Savarthi who encouraged all the faculty to improve not only these established laboratories, but to initiate building up a better laboratory infrastructure for research. And physics department was one of the departments which took all interest to make the best encouragement of Professor M. I. Savarthi. And adding to all this, we were able to start a new course, MSc Radiation Physics course at Mangalore University with BRC collaboration, with good laboratory infrastructure and with professor scientists from BRC regularly coming and giving some courses. It was one of the major things that helped Mangalore University students to get better opportunities to serve in national research laboratories, hospitals, famous hospitals in the country and also abroad. And again, Professor M. I. Savarthi took great interest to support the establishment of MSc Electronics course with industry collaboration for the first time in the country. Industry experts used to participate in the syllabus making, delivering the courses, setting the question paper, evaluating, and in all, at every step they were collaborating, and not only that, all the departments, final year students in one semester, they used to get accommodated in the industries only for their project work. With the result, so many students of MSc Electronics are today are in very CEOs of so many companies at Bangalore and abroad. And some students are, in fact, they have become entrepreneurs, and they are not only settled here in Bangalore. One person is there in London who is making big strides in quantum chip making industry. So that's the kind of a vision he has had. Whatever the interested professors approach him for support, he was very, very proactive and did everything to support them. And one of the main, because of that kind of an attitude only, Mangalore University was able to establish a microtron center where hundreds of research students have utilized that facility to get their PhD degrees. Hundreds. So many experiments are being carried out for the first time in the country in that laboratory. Even BRC scientists had come there for some experiments studying photovision investigations, and then Raja Ramana Center for Advanced Technology Indore have conducted experiments there using high energy electrons for food preservation and all that. And industries like BHEL Bangalore have come there to study solar cells. And like that, and Gujarat industry, diamond merchants have come there to conduct their experiments on coloring the precious stones, including diamonds. Like that, it has become a national facility, center of excellence, and also received so much of financial support from DAE, DST, and UCC in a major way. So it is an outstanding, unique, national facility, okay, and like that, he has gone to achieve big success in all these things. Well, it is time that we must now hear what Professor Dr. Anil Kakurkar has to say. He is also a man of great values, and I'm very happy to know his chosen topic for the first important series of endowment lectures on Professor Saudati features. He has chosen these values and standards in higher education and all that, okay, for which Professor Saudati stood all along during his professional life and subsequently also. And more than that, Anil Kakurkar has seen Professor Saudati from a very close distance, and he knows about him and his achievements through and through. So it is very appropriate, in fact, that we should all feel extremely happy and pride that a person of that stature, who happened to be very close to Professor M.S. Saudati, is delivering the first endowment lecture of Professor M.S. Saudati. Now let us hear what Professor M.S. Saudati, he is about all his achievements from none other than Professor Dr. Anil Kakurkar. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Siddhapaji, for reflecting upon the remarkable contribution of Professor M.I. Saudati sir. It's a great honor for us to have the most eminent and the distinguished personalities amongst us. That is none other than Professor Anil Kakurkar sir, the great Indian nuclear scientist. The atomic energy, which is being explained in our ancient times by Maharshi Karna, like Paramanu, atom, in the ancient times. Moreover, in every sutra like unique affirmation and the growth which starts from atom that is Paramanu. And today we have with us the great nuclear scientist, the scientist of a global stature and the nation's pride, Professor Anil Kakotkar sir. To formally introduce him to the August gathering, may I request the chairman of the Department of Physics, Professor Jayashree ma'am. Ma'am, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. The distinguished speaker of today's Professor M.I. Saudati Endowment Lecture, Dr. Anil Kakodkarji, President of this occasion, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor A.M. Khan, the august presence of Professor K. Siddhappa, former Vice Chancellor, former Vice Chancellor Professor B.G. Mulimani, Registrar Evaluation Dr. Matiha, Srimati Sumitra Ji Saudati, Director Professor Kadkod, former Vice Chancellor Professor S.K. Saidapur, former Vice Chancellor Professor Mallikarjun Alagwani Ji, Professor Pushpa Saudati, esteemed syndicate members and academic council members, MITs, faculty and students. I am very happy for two reasons today. Firstly, I am introducing Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji to this learned audience. Secondly, Professor M.I. Saudati sir was my teacher, research collaborator and well-wisher. Dr. Anil Kakodkar was born on 11th November 1943 in Barbani, Madhya Pradesh. He obtained his B degree in mechanical engineering from the Bombay University in 1963 and MSc in the experimental stress analysis from the Nottingham University, UK in 1969. He joined the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC, Mumbai in 1964. Later, he became the director of BARC in the year 1996 and was the chairman, Atomic Energy Commission and Secretary, Department of Atomic Energy, DAE, Government of India during the years 2002-2009. He was DAE Homi Bhabha Chair Professor during 2010 to 2015 and INAE Satish Dhawan Chair of Engineering Eminence during 2015 to 2017. Currently, he is the AICTE Distinguished Chair Professor. Dr. Kakodkarji has worked for the development of the atomic energy program in India throughout his professional life. He has been a key contributor to India's strategic program. He was amongst the chosen few involved in the successful peaceful nuclear explosion experiment that conducted on May 18, 1974 in Pokhran. And later he played a key role in the series of successful nuclear tests conducted during May 1998 again at Pokhran. India also demonstrated nuclear submarine power pack technology under Kakodkar's leadership. Dr. Kakodkar's sterling leadership led to a significant boost to India's nuclear power program despite the uranium supply constraints. He championed observer status for India at CERN, that is European Centre for Nuclear Research, partnership in the ITER, International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor project, and exemption for nuclear trade from Nuclear Suppliers Group, that is NSG, besides several international cooperation agreements in the area of nuclear power acquisition of uranium and nuclear research. There is hardly any aspect of India's atomic energy program that has not seen a significant impact of Kakodkar's leadership. The deployment of technologies for better quality of life of our people has received considerable boost under Kakodkar's leadership. Besides energy, these cover radiation processing of food and agro products, agriculture with emphasis on oilseeds and pulses, healthcare particularly related to cancer, urban and rural waste management and desalination of water. Notable also are his innovative contributions to human resource development activities, that is establishment of NISER, that is National Institute of Science Education and Research, DAE Mumbai University CBS, that is Center for Basic Sciences, and HBNI, Homi Bhabha National Institute, are expected to result in a fresh wave of human resource development. He has over the years built competent teams of highly specialized scientists and engineers in the reactor engineering programs. He has brought out more than 250 scientific papers and reports on various aspects of his work. A committee under his chairmanship has worked out a detailed report for greater autonomy of IITs and taking them to world-class level. He also chaired an empowered committee to implement the recommendations made. Another committee led by him has carried out similar exercise in the context of NITs. He also led a committee set up by the government of Maharashtra to look at higher education in the state. The committee has made important recommendations that could lead to a paradigm change for improvement of higher education in the state. Another high-level committee under his chairmanship has made comprehensive recommendations for improvement of safety on Indian Railway. A TIPAC Apex group led by him has brought out a technology vision 2035. The document was released by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, during the Science Congress on January 3rd, 2016. A task force led by him has brought out a report, Nuclear Power, India's Development Imperative, and another high-level committee chaired by him has produced a report on the oil and gas sector for the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Dr. Kakodkar was chairman of Solar Energy Corporation in its formative stage. He was also chairman of Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, that is IUCA, during 2006 to 2012. He was a chairman, governing board, Inter-University Accelerator Center, New Delhi, and chairman, board of governors of the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, during 2006 to 2015. Dr. Kakodkar presently devotes his time primarily on issues related to energy, education, and societal development. On the energy front, he has been mentoring development of HALEU, high assay low enriched uranium, thorium-based anneal, that is advanced nuclear energy for enriched light fuel, to trigger a new wave of nuclear power in emerging economies leveraging pressurized heavy water reactors. If successful, this can address a key global developmental challenge while meeting the net zero targets. He has been propagating the concept of sillage, a knowledge-based ecosystem for bridging city and village gaps for technology-enabled sustainable development in rural areas. In recognition of his contributions in multiple fields, Dr. Kakodkar ji is the elected fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering. He was its president during 1999 to 2000. Indian Academy of Sciences, the National Academy of Sciences India. He was president for the year 2017 to 18. Indian National Science Academy, Maharashtra Academy of Sciences. More than 20 universities have conferred honorary doctorate on him. Among his many current assignments, I'd like to mention is the chairman, Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, Government of Maharashtra, chairman, Scientific Advisory Committee in Hydrocarbons of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, New Delhi. It has been my privilege to have introduced such a towering person, Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji, on this occasion of Professor M.I. Saudati first memorial endowment lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the brief introduction. I know the time is limited. Ma'am has chosen for the brief introduction of herself. Excellence without values is dangerous, and the values without excellence are powerless. So the chosen theme for the today's endowment lecture, values and excellence in higher education, is both timely and timeless. In the era of rapid change, the competition and the metrics. This theme reminds us that the true higher education must balance academic brilliance and ethical grounding. So, ladies and gentlemen, the moment has come for which we have been waiting for. Now I request Professor Anil Karnatak sir to address the gathering on the theme of values of excellence in higher education. May I, sir?
ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಏ ವಿನಾಯಕ್ ವಿನಾಯಕ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇದೊಂದು ಎರಡು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು ಅದೇ ಏನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ಆಂಡ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ನೀನು ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ
Thank you, Dr. Mangal, for that very generous introduction. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Karnataka University, Professor A.M. Khan, Professor Siddhappa, my old-time friend and colleague, Mrs. Savadatti, Professor Mulimani, Professor Matighal, Professor Karakol, distinguished academicians, faculty members of the university, students, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my gratitude for this invitation to be here and deliver the first Professor Savadatti endowment lecture. I knew Professor Savadatti, came to know him when he was Vice Chancellor Bangalore University, and as we heard from several speakers before, he had a holistic vision about education. So he gave a new dimension, a more holistic dimension to academics at Mangalore. A lot of collaborations got developed, which were, I would say, two-way collaborations. I remember Mangalore University during the period when Kaiga project, Kaiga atomic power plant project was in the making. An idea got propagated that people measure radiation once the radiation facility is there. But it's common knowledge that radiation is everywhere. It exists naturally. And we often claim in atomic energy that the radiation into the environment as a result of atomic facilities is indistinguishable compared to the natural radiation that exists. The question was, why can't we establish that? And it was with that thought, a program of measurement of natural radioactivity, program of study of migration of natural radioactivity through various plant species, concentration of radioactivities in some of the plant species as a natural phenomenon. A very comprehensive program was launched by Mangalore University, and I do not know about other countries, but for India, that was the first document, although we always set up an environmental survey laboratory at each power plant where we carry out baseline measurement. But this was actually study of radiation processes that take place in the nature between Bhabha Atomic Research Center and Mangalore University. Advanced Technology and Mangalore University, in which again scientists from atomic energy took active role along with colleagues in Mangalore University. So the point I'm making is, it is this collaborative environment. There are many collaborations where one partner is active, other partner is passive. There are many collaborations which remain on MOU, they are dormant. This was not like that. This was an active bilateral collaboration in true sense, where participation, active participation on both sides, as well as active benefits to both sides came about. And that, I think, does make a very important difference to the academic activities in a university. Particularly for students, they get exposed to some of the real life issues dealing with science and society, science and various applications of science for the benefit of mankind and so on, which I believe is the true purpose of education, at least higher education. And I also believe Professor Sawadatti stood for it. I had occasion to interact with Professor Sawadatti on larger education issues because he was, of course, the member of UGC in Karnataka. He played a very active and widespread role in terms of education policies. And it was in that context, in fact, whenever I met him, most of the time used to be devoted for a discussion on such issues. So Professor Sawadatti, in a true sense, was an academic policy maker, somebody who had passion for mentoring young people so that they become very useful contributors to the society at large in various walks of life. And so I feel it very fortunate to be able to stand here, pay my respects to Professor Savalatti and talk about something which I thought was dear to him and would be dear to him to listen to wherever he is. And so I thought, let me speak about knowledge empowerment. See, today, many times when you think, I find as a society, and not just in India, but as humanity, society, we are at crossroads. Science and technology has made many strides. It has affected our lives, both positively as well as negatively. And sometimes one wonders whether many cliff edges, we appear as if we are very close to a cliff edge, very close to a catastrophe. Such situations, one wonders whether it's a result of technology, it's a result of science and technology, or it's a result of way we the human beings have been groomed. And all this centers around education, the way we develop our younger colleagues before they become active participants in our daily lives. So whatever I am going to speak to you is around this theme. Of course, the theme is very broad, very wide, and there are many dimensions. And I think it's physically impossible to cover them all in a single lecture, however exhaustive it is. So this will be essentially some glimpses of facets or dimensions involved in this theme. So now, education is about bringing knowledge to young people so that they become good citizens of the society, good members of the society. Now, and it's no brainer to say that knowledge is the source of power these days. Power at the level of states or power at the level of individuals. That power, some people use it to exert it, many others use it to make other people powerful. But it is this knowledge which multiplies power, and we human beings, we are part of animal kingdom. So there is a bit of animal in all of us. And of course, over period, because of the intelligence or because of the brain that God has given to us, when we use that brain to develop intelligence. And so human beings have realize that, look, you want to carry on for a long time into future, we probably organize ourselves better. And so there are animal values and there are human values. Animal values are natural. Even though we are human beings, we have animal values. But we have developed over and above that so-called human values or human instincts. Now, one part, the animal part, tends to exploit on the basis of the power you get out of knowledge. And the other part, the human part or the humane part, tends to take us towards developing a welfare environment, a welfare framework, what we call humanities. Now, this is I think crux of the upbringing of young people into adulthood. That's the basic aim of education in my view. Now, inculcating human values through mentoring and practice, because these values, we can always listen to a good discourse, we can always listen to sermon, but just telling do's and don'ts with respect to good values doesn't inculcate those habits in you. You have to be put through a practice. And that's how our ancient learning systems have in fact been. And that's the key to sustainable welfare societies, even as knowledge becomes a force multiplier. Now, the complementary part of this is the sustainable societies, the societies in which we live. Now, in those sustainable societies, we sort of get assured identity. I think earlier Maslow's pyramid was referred to. Now this is very important, and of course you mentioned 5, I'm going to refer to only 3. The identity, prosperity and security. Now I think sustainable society, to my mind, must have this assurance of these basic human needs, and that should happen while respecting the diversity. It's not a preserve of elite. It's not as if only certain group of people will get access to knowledge. So I think you want a sustainable society. You must ensure these for everybody and also respect diversity. That's the key. Now, you want to strengthen these human values, and that's a challenge. Sometimes you can in fact ask a question whether we are strengthening the values or deteriorating those values. Now, you must strengthen the human values at least to ensure that there is no exploitation. Because as I told you, knowledge leads to exploitation. While it leads to development, it leads to wealth creation, all that is true. but it leads to exploitation, it leads to, or it creates disparities. All over the world you see, economy grows, disparities also grow. And if you want to make sure that you want to prosper, but you want to prevent exploitation, you want to minimize disparities, then I think you must strengthen human values. And that's where holistic liberal education, in tune with individual students' interests, becomes very important. In fact, the new education policy that is around now, and everybody in the academic environment is working on it. I'm sure all of you are also working on that. I think the key there is to make sure that we make our education liberal, more holistic, and student-oriented, student-centric, in tune with the needs of the student, not in terms of the needs of the syllabus or needs of UGC. I think they are all there to support this. The central thing is to make sure that the values and knowledge-based empowerment grows. It grows in a manner that the exploitation doesn't grow, in fact is minimized. And students have liberty. They must experience a liberal environment to explore themselves, to take them forward. That's what I think we need to aim at. Now, this requires adoption of appropriate technologies and deployment strategies. Just by having technologies, it takes you only some way. The technologies may remain on shelf. There must be also strategy. And this is not a trivial problem. It's a complex problem to make sure that those technologies are taken to benefit those who need it, for whom it is meant. Otherwise, as we see, we develop a lot of technologies, we file lots of patents. But the people who need that, they get those technologies, those products from somewhere else. Most of them from foreign sources, some of them from Indian sources. But I think this ecosystem, the academic, industry, economy, ecosystem, must be such that there is a smooth passage of translation of this, first of all, knowledge creation, technology creation, and its translation both to the industry and to the society. And while doing this important aspect of bridging the human divides, human beings, I don't know, but the tradition is we create our own, clustering is a natural phenomenon. So we, on the basis of some similarities or some common interest, we tend to cluster together. Now, while that may be a natural phenomenon, that should not lead to divides. And I think enlightened people, they will not allow that divide to happen. It's only the lesser mortals who think that they have learned anything and so they are special. And that, I think, is a nurturing that should happen in the knowledge environment. Universal access to knowledge, holistic learning environment, principles of compensation based on human justice, not just market principles of demand and supply. Very important. We all talk about environment. We are several activists. We are all concerned about it, but whatever we produce, even agriculture or nature produces. Now, in terms of food production or propagation of plant species which forms a major source of oxygen. There are many parts of nature, take the case of insects or even natural phenomena. They play a very important role in pollination. Without pollination, where is the kind of agriculture? Where is food production? If you damage environment, quote unquote pollination services will get affected. So if I look at it from an economic principle, that's an important service. And every service should be paid for. Who pays for it? So even the economic principle, I think there is something that needs to be improved. And we are at a stage where we must think about it. At least the academic people should think about it, provide a more humane solution so that there is more sustainability. So attention to sustainability, as I said earlier, is an important thing. And we have gone through this. We have gone through, for example, recently we have gone through COVID pandemic. I think it's a manifestation of what we have done to ourselves. And we must say that we must think how we will not go to such cliff edges, near disaster or near kind of serious challenge to survival. And this is what we should all be concerned about. So, before going further, I want to again get into a bit of philosophical thought. See, you have society and you have economy going around. And they always interact. Everybody has to earn some livelihood, either by way of a job somewhere or a training somewhere, some economic activity. So, but they are all based on a transactional mindset. I spend 8 hours in some place, do whatever I am asked to do or whatever I am expected to do, I get salary. I buy something, give it to sell it to somebody else, I pay. These are all transactional mindsets. Now, the third apex of this ecosystem is knowledge. Somehow, in our society, till now, knowledge has been always put on a very high pedestal. So we think knowledge is very good, but the knowledge, we won't bring it down to interact with the society or to interact with economic activity. In fact, I remember in my childhood, one of the things which were constantly told was that if you are in an education environment, then you can't be engaging yourself into commercial domain. In fact, running a coaching class was considered evil at that time. Today, of course, things have changed. I went to my teacher, who I used to like, and said, "Sir, I want to come and take tuition from you because I want to score high marks in matriculation." And he shouted at me, he said, "Who has prevented you to come to me? Come to me anytime. Ask whatever questions you want to ask. I'll clarify everything. Don't talk about this tuition." So we have come far away from that. Today the coaching classes all over. I think the numbers are that the turnover in coaching classes, that economy, is larger than the education budget of the country. That's the hard reality. So, that is how knowledge used to be treated then, that is how knowledge is used to be treated. But the important thing is the transaction mindset apart, that transactions is something you cannot get rid of. We are existing, so there will be always transactions. Nothing wrong with that. But then, education or knowledge slipping down, dismounting from the pedestal, engaging with the society, it leads to creative thinking, it leads to new creation. We talk about startups, or we talk about entrepreneurship. These are all as creative activities as are making a painting. And when we look at these things in this way, we also enjoy or benefit or become happy with the joy of that creation. I feel very happy having worked in atomic energy and built the technology, nuclear technology, the whole world was denying to us. We built it, defied them, we built it, country is self-reliant. I'm happy. Now, that joy is something quite different. And if you have that joy as a part of everybody's activity, I put it to you that this is something far bigger than just transactional mindset. And once you get into that, then there will be no need for putting knowledge on a pedestal, or for that matter, feeling the need of hearing some pravachana with some holy master somewhere, to feel that, look, I did all my sins during the day, evening I listen to a very wise, enlightened discourse, I feel lighter, relaxed. Next day I am ready to commit my sins again. It does not work like that. Once you have that joy, there will be no need for that. You will always remain happy. You don't feel insecure. And this is the important part which we should be able to bring together. So, the theme which we should go for is, in the new environment, in the new ecosystem, we have to bring knowledge to bear to both the society as well as the economic transactions in the society or economy, and get into creative activities. I think the society will anyway become virtuous. And of course, there must be that ingrainment of values through actual practice. If we do that, I think a large part of today's world will vanish. So you don't have to go through many other things. Our universities should become temples of achieving this thing, and the world will be different if the universities kind of do. And I think this is the task that universities should perform. Now, so with that background, I want to very quickly identify the problems before us now. What are the problems? The problems before us are, we are very happy that our economy is growing. Indeed, Indian economy is growing very fast. We are fourth largest. Very soon we will become third largest economy in the world. Now, our infrastructure, in many ways you will find our rail infrastructure, roadways, we have our problems, we have our questions. But in terms of the size and magnitude, these are on the very top, within top few numbers of the globally, we are there. Now, certainly matter to be happy and proud. But then, we are also a large country, largest population in the world. So, obviously we also have large youth force, demographic dividend. Now, if you have demographic dividend, and if you are empowering them through education, whatever are the challenges before education, we are departing education. That youth force becomes the workforce of the country. So that's contributing. So I think that is the key, what is driving our economy. There are many other factors, it has to be steered through, guided, all that things. But the prime driver to our economy is our demographic dividend. So being on the top of ladders counted as countries is okay. But I think what we need to aim at is in terms of more tangible things. For example, quality of life of our people. Now, quality of life gets determined not by total income of the country, but per capita income of the country. Same thing is true about, for example, the health of our people. I will come to that. Now, in terms of health, you look at the health technologies, health infrastructure. India is actually a medical tourism capital. So obviously everything should be good. But you look at the globally where India stands in terms of health parameters, we are at the bottom. Per capita income, we are at the bottom. Now that's the challenge that we need to reverse. And then of course, as I mentioned, there is this question of disparity. The Gini coefficient, of course, is troublesome both in urban areas as well as rural areas. Rural areas are poorer than urban areas. But Gini coefficient is more troublesome in rural areas. And this is, I think, what reflects what we need to do. And I think the only solution to that is the right knowledge empowerment with right values inculcated in people. Now, of course, all this happens, economy grows, you get infrastructure, all this happens because of technology. And technology, of course, is some part we are doing within country, some parts we are getting technology from outside, some parts technology is being developed outside which is not accessible to us, but technology is good and it diffuses, so we also get some benefit. But I think we need to organize this in a manner where in each of these, in technology term also we should be able to rise. Not we are better off compared to yesterday in technology terms within our country. The question is the gap between us and the best technologically capable country, that gap, it is increasing or decreasing? That is the question. And so, to me, objectives should be the following in terms of technology to achieve all that what I said earlier. Number one, we should be talking about ability to develop disruptive technologies which nobody else has done ahead of us. Development of disruptive technologies ahead of any other country. And you try to look for what we have done in that space. You will find we have miles to go. Because that is what will make India go to the top rung of that ladder. That is what makes the country powerful, both in military terms as well as in economic terms. So that is one objective. The second objective should be India has its own challenges. So we should be able to develop technologies to solve those challenges. And I talk some of them a little later. Now, this may require a new technology. It may well be possible by using technologies which is known, but available with others who don't have it. And I think no harm in accessing that technology if it is accessible. If it is denied to us, we should have the capability to do it ourselves. That's the meaning of self-reliance, according to me. But we should solve our problem. And I'll reserve that, I'll come back to that in a moment. The third is we must make sure that we maximize value addition in the country. You know, traditionally pre-independence era, British looted our wealth, mostly by taking away raw materials from here and dumping finished goods on us. And we still have that, mindset. Thing coming from foreign countries is good, imported is better. And somehow we have that mindset. I don't understand why we have that mindset. We saw in Operation Sindoor what saved the country or what got pride to the country. All those technologies are built, homegrown technologies. Although we had also some other technologies. So that is where real power lies. And finally, as I said, technologies lead to disparities. So we need to deploy technology in a manner which benefits everyone but exploits none. And this is where Mahatma Gandhi, he is perceived to be deadly against technology because of exploitative nature and power of this technology. So we must learn ways and means of managing and deploying technology in a manner that we empower everybody, including grassroots people, but exploit none. And one simple way of doing that, according to me, is to pay attention to villages. There is disparity of various kinds at all levels and in all domains. But you pay attention to villages, you will find you will address a large part of this problem. Now, you want to do that, pay attention to villages to reduce disparity, you must have a good ecosystem. We have developed divided society into silos with barriers to engagement between them. It is in our institutions, it is in our society, it is in our larger system. We need to create interactions, we need to create engagements. So in the rural context, we need to create an ecosystem, which I call silage. I will not go in detail here, but suffices to say that it's, you have colleges in villages, you have schools in villages, you have self-help groups in large numbers in villages, you have banks, the microfinance people in villages, and they are all doing their work, good work. Why can't they work together in a manner where we maximize value addition in the village? Why can't we ensure that every village in the country becomes a net exporter? Every town becomes a net exporter. Every city becomes a net exporter. I think the economy of the country will just zoom up. But we must create that ecosystem. And I think education domain, higher education domain particularly, should take leadership in this area. Now let me talk about those challenges which I mentioned. The key challenges, as it were. I listed them on the left hand side. You will be surprised, but according to me, malnutrition is still a big challenge for us. If you look at rural settings, let me give you an example. You know, we call India a diabetic capital of the world. And the normal notion is that is because of the lifestyle we have got into. And this is true. No question about that. But then you carry out some survey. I know one survey was conducted in Konkan area. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with Konkan area, not far from you. There, look, obesity would be there by exception, but by and large people are slim and thin. So this motion will tell you that the percentage of diabetes in villages, I know about Konkan, should be very low. Far from it. It is actually high. Why? Now it is still research is going on, but it is traced to malnutrition. Malnutrition in mothers. Even before that, malnutrition in adolescent girls. And as a result, the babies in the next generation, the percentage of low birth weight is very high. Percentage of stunted births is very high. And that creates a development challenge. So, now there is same thing can be talked about other non-communicable diseases. And it affects the capability of Indians. See, if you don't have the development properly, then obviously it will affect your capability. If it affects your capability, it will affect your relative competitive edge as a society. So it is problem as fundamental as that. And so, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, which is an institute dedicated to fundamental research, I am sure what I am talking to you will not even appear to you as basic research, forget about fundamental. But they are now engaged in this program, Arunda. It is Advanced Research Unit on Development, Metabolism and Aging. And it's a multicentric exercise, not sitting in the labs of TIFR. TIFR, they have created a special lab for this purpose. But there are surveys, there are cohorts, and there are studies happening in Konkan, I mentioned, they are happening by CMC Vellore and a few other places. It is as important as that even people deeply interested in fundamental research have now taken to looking at this issue. That's the important. I will not go into all that, but let's say affordable health care. India today, I told you that we are famous for tourism capital. Cost of healthcare is continuously going up. Why? Because cost of equipment involved in diagnosis and therapy is going up. India is importing 40,000 to 50,000 crore worth medical equipment every year. And so it's available in cities. Those who have a cashless facility, they are enjoying it. But I don't know how many people from villages are able to truly access it. So why can't we start a program to develop those technologies and those products here? There is some excellent work which has been done for a long time by Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute in Kerala. So, a similar work, a multicentric program between IIT Bombay, College of Engineering, Pune, and BNIT, Nagpur. Along with a dozen engineering colleges, medical colleges, it involves very eminent practicing medicos, both doctors as well as surgeons. It involves industry, it involves of course researchers and students. And together they have started an ecosystem called BETIC. And within a matter of, this is a program I think now about 10 years old. But there are around 24 startups and technology transfers which are actually producing equipment. And these people who have made this equipment, these are all high-tech equipment. You know, BIRAC has a, DBT has a BIRAC is a funding agency. They give big awards for startups and entrepreneurs who have, carried out some very distinguishing work in terms of medical technologies and some other aspects of biotechnology. Award is 50 lakhs each. In this program, such companies, I think they have earned maybe 16 or 18 such awards. So they have earned something like close to 8 to 10 crores just by way of awards. So what I'm trying to say is this can happen. Education system can do this, and I think it is our duty to make that happen. I will not go into all other areas, but this same issue is there in the respect of early childhood education. You have NEP report, half the childhood or maybe larger part of early childhood education happens in Anganwadis. Anganwadi, the focus is on vaccination, midday meal, health related. Let's say ICDS program has 6 directions. Education is one of them. Anganwadi workers are not at all trained for early childhood education. They are all 8th standard, 9th standard graduates. Now, of course, there is impetus to recruit people which are more qualified. But there are thousands and thousands of such workers. How are you going to train them to deliver early childhood education of high quality? Very fundamental to education. So there are these things, and I think we need to attend to this. Again, where it lies in education domain squarely. I'll leave that as much more detail. My own area of energy. We have been talking about atomic energy, but in the policy domain, it has been a neglected subject all along. It's only now, 2 years back, government has suddenly realized now that we must have a very important, aggressive nuclear energy mission. So everybody is running about how will we produce 100 gigawatts. We are producing barely 8 gigawatts now. So if you want to produce 100 gigawatts in next 20 years, you have to produce 5,000 megawatts, 5 gigawatts every year, which means 6 to 7 nuclear power plants every year. So this is because that's the residual challenge that is lying before us, and we need to attend. Again, I will not go into the details, but recognize that we have this notion that renewable energy will solve our problem. It will, but it will solve only the present day problem. You want India to be Vikasit Bharat, you want the quality of life or human development index in India to be comparable with so-called developed countries, you need 4 times larger energy. Renewable energy is not going to provide that. It's not there. So where this energy will come from? And other than nuclear, there is no answer. So I think we need to again accelerate that path. Luckily, it has happened. So I say there I rust I, but we have miles to go. I think this is about the last slide. So now, what is the key to all this? I think we have structures, but we think government has to do all this. Actually, the mode of delivery of not just education, but maintaining society at the right health, maintaining minds of people thinking right, is actually the role of institutions. And those institutions, and there are many institutions in India, I think there are very dedicated people, groups that have been running institutions, some of them more than 100 years old. But by and large in India, our institutions decay. You look at top 10 universities in the world. I put it to you that at least 8 of them, if not 9, would be more than a couple of 100 years old. Some even longer, 500 years, 600 years. We often boast of our own Nalanda. Nalanda was there for several centuries. Then it was destroyed, and that's a separate history. The question is, why do institutions decay with time? I can understand human being decaying with time. The institution should not decay if it consists of right-thinking people who get replaced periodically. Now, so you want to maintain those institutions, I think it's the responsibility on all of us. The government, of course, but the society, people, everybody, to make sure that our institutions remain protected. Whenever aggressions have taken place on the country, which have been the first target, you trace in history and you'll find that the first targets have been these institutions. We look upon them as temples and things like that. But all temples have played a lot of role in education. There is a lot of following, there is a connect between them and the society, and that's why they are targets. So, there are these 4 key items or key things which make sure that the country remains on the right track. Infrastructure, and of course that a lot is happening, but this is a key thing. Technology, again, I think things are happening because technology, if you want to be having the best of facilities, you require technology. But institutions, I think we need to improve ourselves quite a bit. We are not able to maintain our institutions on a look at Oxford, look at Cambridge, look at Harvard, look at MIT, and try to find out how many institutions we have. First of all, higher education, as we know, it started only later in India. Not that we didn't. We had a great education system, all gone. I think those have to be preserved. And finally, incentives. I think people who are doing good work, institutions that are doing good work, they must be appreciated. I'm not saying that we don't, but they must be appreciated somewhere. It's one thing to appreciate a world champion, but it's also important to appreciate somebody who stands first in the class. So what is wrong if there are X number of people who are participating in an activity, at least 10% of them should be appreciated for whatever. Should have large number of hours, large motivation. It's very important. It's an integral part of mentoring. So I think while we focus on education, knowledge empowerment, morality, I think this also is an important part. So I think that was the last slide. Yeah. So I thought of narrating some of them. I told you by no means this is a comprehensive presentation, but then recognizing the limitations of time, I thought this would be the best way of paying respects to Professor Savadatti, because I think he stood for all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful and inspiring session. I request all the dignitaries to please come on the dais. When words are rooted in wisdom, they continue to speak long after the lecture ends. I think it is rightly applicable at this occasion. Sir has highlighted on values of higher education, the challenges of education ecosystem, and the road ahead for reaching the excellence. So we are confident that today's lecture will leave us with a renewed purpose and a deeper commitment to academic values. Thank you for such an inspiring and a thought-provoking endowment lecture. Thank you so much, sir. Honoring knowledge is honoring the future. As a mark of our respect and a gratitude, may I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to kindly felicitate Dr. Anil Kapurkar, sir.
Hello.
I expect all the dignitaries to kindly join.
Centrak.
Beri macam first class beri.
ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ನೋಡಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಪ್ರವೀಣ್ ಗುಡ್ ಕಿಂಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದ
stage. Mrs. Mitra M. Saudati, the wife of Professor M.I. Saudati.
ಮುಗಿತಲ್ಲ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನದ ಏನು
May I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir to kindly felicitate Professor B.G. Mulimani sir. As a token of respect and gratitude from Karnatak University Dharwad. Thank you, sir. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir to felicitate Professor Siddhappa sir, the former Vice Chancellor Bangalore University and the presently the President of TAS Bangalore. Thank you, sir. May I request other dignitaries to kindly felicitate Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor A.M. Khan, sir. Most people over 40 will enter 2026. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Leadership gives a direction to the values and the purpose to the excellence. And today we have a great visionary leader for the Karnatak University Dharwad with us. He is our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor A.M. Khan, sir, as the President of the program. May I request, sir, to deliver the presidential remarks and share the reflections of today's deliberation. May I, sir?
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಹಾಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಸಂಕ್ರಮಣ ಹಬ್ಬದ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, former Chairman of Atomic Energy Commission and Chairman of Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, Mumbai, and the stalwart
in the field of technological education, the chief guest of today's program, Dr. Anil Kakorkarji, my mentor, guide, and always a well-wisher who has stamped my back, former Vice Chancellor of Bangalore University and President of KAS, Professor K. Siddhappa sir, my teacher, my well-wisher, former Vice Chancellor of Gulbarga University, Professor B.G. Mulimani sir, Director of Prasaranga, Professor Karkol, distinguished invitees present here, Professor Saidapur, Professor Subhash, and all other dignitaries present here, the deans of various faculties, syndicate members, fellow colleagues from various departments, student friends, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I have nothing much to say as far as the topic is concerned, but however, as the president of this program, the last to speak, I will not come in the way of what you have heard from Dr. Anil Kakorkar, that he has opened up new ideas, new ways of looking at education, and what education should have been and where we are. We all know Professor M.I. Saudati has contributed in his own might to the development of education in the state. We all heard what was his contribution to Karnatak University, to education, to setting up of labs at Karnatak University, to the task of doing or setting up various facilities at Bangalore University, and a lot of things that he has done as the Vice Chairman of Karnataka State Higher Education Council for the state. One thing which stands out, which I would like to remind, other than what has been told, is he was also heading a citizens forum at Dharwad, for which he was the chairman for a long time, discussing about the problems of Dharwad and how the city of Dharwad should be taken forward to become a hub of education and to become a clean and a green city. Other than that, I think Professor Mulimani sir, Professor Siddhappa sir have already told how he has contributed to research and to the cause of education. Calling Professor Anil Kakorkar was apt at this time, and I should thank Professor Siddhappa sir when I requested him to speak to Anil Kakorkar for inviting him here. He agreed, and he said he is the right person, we should be having him here for the first memorial lecture, and that's how he is here with us today. That was apt because if you have heard or seen the slides that Professor Kakorkar gave us now, and the thoughts that Professor Saudati used to tell whenever you met him, you talked to him, reflect a similar message. Two or three things which I noted down, which stand out in the whole talk, was human values, having human values before we impart education, a holistic and liberal education where liberty is given to the teachers, to the students to demand what they want and what kind of education they want. One catchy thing that was there was ecological balance, maintaining ecological balance with respect for the environment and environmental protection. And for all this, he said universities should become temples of learning. So our lifestyle has made us look at education institutions in a different way, education in a different way. But the cause of education should have been spreading out knowledge. Knowledge for the betterment of the society, betterment of the humanity. That should have been the core value, which should have knowledge empowerment. He compared our system of education in India, what we are offering now, and what is happening abroad. When we say we want the best of education, we always say UK universities are better, US universities are better, etc. But I don't agree with that. I say our universities are better. when we look upon them for technological growth, they look upon us, our Indian universities, our system of education for human values, for peace of mind, for philosophy, and so many other things. So every university has been contributing in its own way, and education has been growing. But it's time that we think of improving upon our infrastructure that is available with us, which Dr. Karnatak has highlighted. Accepting technology up to what level is a big challenge. You know, AI is coming into our life. Everybody is going to be a part of AI. Not AI is going to be a part of us. Technology has taken over in such a big way that we are going to be part of the technology now. But where do you limit its use? How much are you going to use technology? It all depends on how you are going to use it, where you are going to use it, and where you should stop. I think humanity should now discuss on those aspects of how much freedom we are giving to technology to invade into our lives. That is one of the important aspects, one of the challenges that we should be having. And as far as institution building is concerned, all of us have to work as a team to build institutions of higher learning. And to provide that, one good thing Dr. Anil Kapoor told was providing incentives to the people who perform. I think that should have been the core of all our education institutions. And we at Karnatak University are determined to do that. And we at Karnatak University are going to make this campus a vibrant campus. And a lot of activities should be happening always, many seminars, conferences, some programs in every PITA that we have with us. So some activities should be going on which imparts some values to the young students so that they can build upon from there and imbibe some values in their life from different PITAs, what they are seeing in the campus, what they learn in the departments is education as far as the subject is concerned. But what they learn from the environment in the university will tell or will build upon their personality. So that is what we have heard, and how we can avoid the decay of institutions. I think it's a more challenging task now for the administration, for the officers, and for all the teachers to avoid decay of institutions. For that, it is going back to our roots, going back to the values that we stand for, and from there we have to build upon the institutions to build good citizens for the country. If that is the idea, if you want to build a good citizen, if you want to make a good citizen who can contribute to the country, then definitely the decay of institutions can stop. You can pick up slow learners, fast learners, then average learners, etc. You can classify, change our methodology, then definitely we can stop this decay of institutions. And that's how we all have to work together and take the things forward. I hope all of you had a nice day, a nice lecture today, opening up so many ideas. I noted out so many points, but I don't want to take much of your time. We have heard Dr. Kapoor telling us so many things from different angles, from a different perspective, because what we hear nowadays in most of the seminars is all technology, but looking at technology from the other angle was a good thing. I thank the chief guest, Sri Anil Kapoor, for having accepted our invitation and come all along, for the respect, for the respect that he has to Dr. M.I. Sodati, and because of the invitation of Professor Siddhappa, Professor Mulimani, and all of us, all of the alumni associates here, he is here with us, and on behalf of all of you, I thank Dr. Anil Kapoor for having accepted our invitation. I also thank our teachers, Professor Siddhappa, Professor Mulimani, for being with us and telling what they had experienced with Professor M.I. Sodati. And then I thank the Alumni Association for getting along with the Prasaranga of our university in organizing this particular first maiden M.I. Sodati Memorial Endowment Lecture and making it a memorable one. And thank you all for a patient hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the presidential remarks. Gratitude is the memory of a heart. To formally propose the vote of thanks, may I call upon the Director Prasaranga, Karnatak University Dharwad, Professor A.M. Kadkul, sir.
Respected ladies and gentlemen, invitees, honored guests, and speaker for the day, teaching and non-teaching staff, media and press persons, and our students. Very good evening to all. At first, let me express my very sincere and profound gratitude for having been accorded this unique opportunity to convey a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion to Professor M.I. Saudati Sir Memorial Foundation Lecture 2026. Dear Dr. Anil Kakodkar Sir, Ji, with a deep sense of honor and privilege, I stand before you to express our profound gratitude on behalf of me, my Prasananda team, and the Karnataka University for having taken time off your many responsibilities to join us here as the speaker for Professor M.I. Saudati Memorial Foundation Lecture 2016 and addressing the August gathering with your blessed words. Thank you, sir. Now I express my deep thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor E.M. Khan sir, who is always behind his team, inspiring them to undertake innovative activities and strives for the continuous development of the university. Thank you, sir. I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt thanks to Professor K. Siddhappa sir, for presence and sharing your experience, the development of, growth and development of MI. Saudati sir, thank you, sir. And now I would like to take the opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to Professor B.G. Mulimani sir, your presence and sharing your precious time and sharing the experience with MI Saudati sir. Thank you, sir. Now I take the opportunity to thank Srimati Dr. Sumitra M. Saudati madam for accepting our invitation, madam. Thank you, madam. Now I take the opportunity to thank our physics department chairman, Professor J.Sri madam, J.Sri Tornanavar madam. Thank you, madam. I thank all the syndicate members. Then I would like to thank all the press and media reporters for covering this event and spreading the awareness to the mass, as well as I thank all the dignitaries of the dais, especially Subhas sir, Saidapur sir, all the dignitaries. Deshpande sir is also there. Thank you, Undal. Thank you, and thank you one and all.
Thank you so much, sir. May the life and the legacy, the values and the visions of Professor M.I. Saudati sir continue to guide our journey, continue to inspire us to pursue the excellence with integrity. Thank you all for your gracious presence. Have a wonderful evening.